Hello, Mustang fans, and welcome to another episode of the Mustang Owners Podcast. I'm your host, John Clore. I'm the Enthusiast Communications Manager for Ford Performance. Along with my co-host is Mike Ray, who is the president of the Mustang Owners Club of Southeastern Michigan and the International Mustang Club. And I'll tell you, the International Council, Mike, I think is ripe for growth, because we just heard this week that Fabrizio Scinardi is launching the European Mustang Association. So I can't wait till the International Council of Mustang Clubs gets together, and boy, we're going to have a global party over Mustang. And
stay tuned, because we're going to Montana later this year for a show for them.
It would be the International Mustang Meet. So we're going global. But for today, we're going Motown. Today, folks, we're going to take you through the Detroit Autorama. We're going to explore some of the Mustangs that were there. But Mike, I think more importantly, to try to find the trend on what's going on with these hot rod and custom car shows. Most of the major cities in the U.S., they have like a World of Wheels or a Maguire's show or an Autorama. And, the classic hot rod shows are always cool. But Mike, this has been changing, and I think it's changed for the better.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a different vibe. If you went back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, it's completely different now, as we got to see earlier this year.
Well, for those of you who don't know, the Detroit Autorama is like 73 years old. It's been around since the 50s, and essentially it was a hot rod show put together by guys who were racing on the street. And they were told, hey, by the cops, stop doing it. You're making a bad reputation for hot rodders. Why don't you just go have a car show instead? And so they put together a little car show, and I think it was one of the Detroit artillery armories somewhere. And it was so well received, so popular. They made so much money. They were able to fix up a dragway with it and, become legal. And every year it got bigger and bigger. It finally got so big it moved to downtown Detroit, where it became the Detroit Autorama at the old Cobo Hall. Of course, now Mike, Cobo Hall's not Cobo Hall. It's the Huntington Place.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the Huntington Place Convention Center on Detroit's riverfront. Well, this year, Mike and I decided to go down on press day and go check out the Detroit Autorama. Why? Because it's not just Fords, folks. It's every sort of car. But we knew a couple of very special Mustang people there. Of course, the Duncan brothers were there with their Mustang creations, and we wanted to check out the Mustangs as well. So here we are at probably the biggest rod custom street machine show in America. They have the Grade 8, where the greatest new builds were shown, and the one was picked each year. It's like the Academy Award of custom cars. And as soon as we walked in the building that morning, it was a chilly morning in late February, we said, this is just had a great vibe the minute we walked in the door.
Yeah, it definitely was. And you still get wowed as soon as you start seeing some of the cars. And like I said, I remember going back as a very small child with my dad, and we never missed that show. So, definitely a special meaning for me for the show for sure.
So you walk in, folks, and what do you expect to see at a custom car show? You expect to see custom cars. So, Mike, there are a billion of these old hot rods. I mean, but this one doesn't look like an old hot rod. I mean, there were some street build cars. There's stuff downstairs that was full of patina and the rat rods. But these kind of wild customs are you just don't see them anymore at cruise-ins. And the reason why you want to go to an Autorama is to see something like this. Anything built off a 30s era coupe, or this was a little pickup. They put everything in them from small block Chevys to Hemis, and then the custom work is off the charts. So that's why you can't help but walk around, Mike, and just kind of stare, whether it's a 30s old street rod or a 50s,
New meaning to Skunk Works building those cars, huh?
Yeah, I tell you what, my Bondo work is not that good, and I could. So congrats to this guy with this. Looked like a Alacarte's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
But we were there to, check out the Mustangs. So, man, every once in a while you walk by a car and you go, Mike, why can't I have a 428 Cobra Jet? Why can't I? You see something like the Sinister Black, the Magnum 500s, and just these guys have them so perfect and polished. I mean, I know they load in the night before in the middle of winter, but just to see this under the lights is just, and this is why you go to an Autorama and not just a regular new car show, because this is the stuff that floats my boat.
Yeah, the lights in that room are just absolutely incredible. They really show your car.
Well, it wasn't just, the high end superstar cars like Shelby's and 428 Cobra Jets. I saw,
There we go.
no, okay, I saw Farrah Fawcett there, Mike. Now,
Yes,
how,
we had to stop and do a double take on that one.
how in the heck? I thought she had passed away years ago, but here we are at the Detroit Autorama. Of course, the 76 Cobra 2, the white with blue stripes, the one she made famous on Charlie's Angels. This was a local owner, Mike. I don't remember. I don't think I met the guy. I'm not sure he was at a Mustang 2 reunion we had at Moxham Mustang's Memory Show.
Right.
And if you folks are second gen Mustang fans, get back onto YouTube and check out the Mustang Memories episode of the Mustang Owners Podcast, and you'll see Mustang 2s to your head swims. And then we had a modern day Farrah Fawcett and Lauren Parrott, our you and
Yeah.
But this guy, I mean, this is the famous photo of Farrah on the skateboard, and put that out at the Auto. What a cool! This is what I like about Autorama displays. It's more than just cars, right? And of course,
there's a 4-eyed fox body.
I know all you Fox fans out there. You're all in love with every different era of Foxes, but for me, it's the 4-eyed cars. I just, for some reason, and seeing this thing, of course, look what he's got. Look what he's got powering it, Mike. He's called it Foxody. It's a coyote fox body, and it's Foxyody.
My first Mustang, John, 85 Mustang GT.
And you'd still have it had a coyote in it.
Yes.
This thing was so wicked. You get the skinnies up front and the meats out back, and you can tell there's way too much horsepower for a little Fox, but there's no such thing, Mike, as way too much horsepower.
Right, never.
Very cool car. We absolutely had to stop and take a look at that one. And of course, what was the genesis of the Mustang, Mike? What is underneath a Mustang?
Yeah, Falcon.
Yeah. So when we went downstairs at Autorama Extreme, for those of you who aren't aware of how Detroit's set up, they got the big Autorama show upstairs, and they have the Grade 8 and the classics and the collectibles and the clubs and the Toyorama and the food court and all that stuff. But downstairs was Autorama Extreme, where you see cars like this. The paint job on this Falcon's roof was solely lacking, or is that just patina?
It's called patina, John.
Yeah, okay, well, and we saw so much patina downstairs at the Autorama Extreme. But Mike, this stuff,
Are we still talking about cars?
yeah. This stuff is what people they love these cars, and they don't want to touch them. Remember, it's in primer, and they go, hey, come back when you paint it. What, it is painted. That's the way I like it.
That's the way it's done, yeah.
So we had to show the genesis of the Mustang, which is this Falcon wagon. Just fun to see. But here's a guy, Mike, we saw his car. He's a 21-year-old, a local guy. And it's not to say that young people don't have cars in the Autorama, but to see a 21-year-old enter a car, get it accepted, and of course it's an SN95. It's this beautiful convertible. I was blown away by it. And if you remember, Mike, I left on my business card, say, hey, contact me at Ford Performance. I'd love to hear your story, how a 21-year-old gets to restore this car to it. I thought it looked beautiful.
Yeah, and it proves it to our point, John, that we've been talking about recently is, the entry-level car always used to be the Fox body because it was affordable to work on, it was affordable to purchase, but now it's the SN95. That's the new entry-level Mustang.
And you can have these, you can get these cars for $5,000-$6,000. All the way up to, if you want a Cobra or something. But yeah, this guy, a 21-year-old, a new Mustang fan in the Mustang community. We're going to try to get his story, Mike, and maybe have him on an episode of the podcast, because how cool is that? I mean, a 21-year-old. At 21 years old, I was taking the training wheels off my bicycle.
Yeah.
No, I'm just.
That's not a Mustang.
No, of course that's not. But you know what, folks? Let me apologize ahead of time. One of the rarest 60s Fords is a 1960, and unless you saw Andy Griffith's show. But to see a custom like this, and I couldn't stop walking by this car. There's something about the fins on a 60 Ford and just the big white walls, the paint. We're there to look at the Mustangs, Mike, but darn it all, there were so many there's so much great Detroit iron there, you just can't help yourself.
Yeah, the customs, you don't see those, like you said, at any just car show. This is the place to see all those things. So you definitely got to stop and admire.
Yeah, and no offense to those guys if they don't want to take it to Cars and Coffee and get a door ding. Some of these cars, Mike, they have to be well over $100,000.
Oh, I would say all of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I stopped on that one. But then again, every once in a while you stop for another car and you go, dang, is this thing sweet or what?
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of the guys in this era, when they get to the late 70s, you say, oh, you never see the late 70s cars. Yes, you do. And you can ask Mike Berardi
Yeah.
if he likes the big horses and especially the big blocks, the 429s.
Yeah.
But to see these cars there, it was really great to see that they had every generation of Mustang covered.
Yeah. Everyone was represented there for sure.
Even though you wouldn't think so. Right? No, that had to happen. Of course, when you
Here we go.
now, what the heck?
Speaking of big horses, there you go.
The 71 to 73s are finally getting some love, Mike. And these two guys, they got the end of the row. They parked next to each other. To have a yellow Mach 1, look at shaker hoods. I mean, these guys, you don't see stuff like this at the regular. You might see, the cruiser might have a 66 or 67. You never have a second gen or these big horses. But to see two of them at the Autorama, what a pair. The red and yellow really stood out. And what a great couple of Mustangs right at the end row.
Yeah, great representation of the big horses there, and looks like ketchup and mustard, right? There we go.
All right, folks, we got to go. I'm going to make myself a hot dog. Yeah, we did. And by the way, Mike.
I'm here all night.
By the way, I go to walk to the next Mustang. What did I find? A 57. Because you keep talking about your SVO and blah, blah, blah. My first car was a 57 Ford because my dad was a cop and he wanted me to drive a big, heavy lead sled. So he found this out of some old guy and he bought it. And of course, it wasn't this car. I had a gray 292 two-barrel. But this thing, when I saw it, I go, it's jade. Oh, how cool. And again, the 60s, the Detroit Iron, that just did it for me. Even though my search was, it even had, Mike, those big rear skirts on the car like you saw on the 57 Mercs. This takes you back to it. This is why you go to an Autorama. You get the car fever all over again.
Yep. Yep. No, those are beautiful cars. And the paint jobs are just absolutely immaculate.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the Barbie car.
Okay, so I didn't know there was a Barbie Mustang. And for those of you who think that that's a real Barbie, she didn't say a word, Mike.
No. And don't get it confused with Pinky, like we know with Haas owns or owned, the Playboy edition car.
This was
not that. This is the Barbie edition that somebody made.
Somebody made their own Barbie edition, brought a mannequin out, and there was pink everywhere. I mean, it had tables and chairs and blankets and throws, and there's a surfboard in the car. She painted the dashboard pink. But a lot of kids, this was a big photo area. They went right up. And that's what I like too. Sometimes people will like that Farrah Fawcett thing. They'll make little dioramas to make period correct. And this Barbie pink Mustang got a big crowd. And all the kids seem to want to take their picture next to this.
Yeah, that was definitely an attraction for sure.
This, Mike, I have to.
Oh, beautiful 70 right there. That was one from Motor City Solutions did.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was just out of the restoration shop?
Yeah, just done out of the restoration for Motor City Solutions. Great restoration company if you guys are looking to get your cars, and you can see one of their examples right there, that beautiful 70.
Yeah, Detroit's had known for a lot of restoration shop, but Motor Cities, they're the big ones. And boy, that's another, those are hard cars to do. Parts are not that plentiful, but to do a nut and bolt restoration on a car like that thing was pretty awesome.
If you want a car done, you call Motor City Solutions, ask for Jeff or Anna, and tell them Mike and John sent you.
Okay. Come to Detroit to get your car done. All right, now here's one of our friends, Mike. We have to talk about these guys because they're just getting cooler every year.
Yeah, every year. And they came up to unveil both of these cars, which we were there for, which, we honor and just cherish their friendship. And, man, they are just so full of talent. It's ridiculous.
The Duncan Brothers Customs, both Joey and Aaron, brought up a brand new, it was the Frankenboss or Frankensnake.
Oh, no, Frankenboss was last year. I'm sorry, Frankensnake.
This is Frankensnake.
Frankensnake in this year, yeah.
It's a Shelby. And so the don't get fooled, people, when you look at this. This is not what you might think it is. It's an S197.
Yes.
So how these guys are able to put 67, 68, the look of the cars on these, both a Mach 1 and a Shelby, and then do custom touches. They take that beautiful design that we wish we had that car, and make it even more beautiful. Some of the side scoops on this Shelby, but when you open the door, when you look at the car, you go, what looks different about that? And you look inside, you go, oh my God, that's an S197. And this is built off an S197. So they did both that Mach and this beautiful Frankensnake. And they showed it there, and I have their new partner, your buddy Bill Toomas.
Yeah, but another thing on that Frankensnake, my favorite part, John, was the 4GT on the door, the 4GT
the side scoop.
Side scoops,
Yeah.
and they literally split it on the door and the rear end, and man, did they do a great job.
I mean,
And that Mach X next to it was somebody that worked in the space program for a long time, and they did a Mach X.
I mean, these cars, if you check out the Duncan Brothers Customs website, these guys, and every time they're at a show, Mike, they're just great guys. So hats off to Aaron and Joey, and great meeting with them there as well. But then again, every once in a while, you'll see somebody that this was a big display for this super custom Mustang. Mike, yeah. I've seen some clean Mustangs in my time, but my God, the attention to detail on this baby that was up on the turntable. The bottom looked as good as the top, and this was just mildly custom, but so knock your eyes out. Beautiful.
Literally looks like it just came off the showroom floor.
And I don't think Lee Iacocca ever had a Mustang leave Dearborn Assembly that looked like.
No.
So
definitely not.
Guys bringing that car, you just made everybody jealous. Why did you?
Yeah.
Well, then again, of course, I always got a fondness for 67. But Mike, this one turned my head. First of all, the blue and red was very different. The taillight combination, the wheels on it. There are so many personal touches to early, late, and even S550 Mustangs when you go see a Mustang at the show like Autorama that you have to stop and look at every angle of that car, because there's things that people do to their Mustangs that you can only see at shows like this. And Mike, there are different color combinations. The cars are they're beautiful. Yeah. But people like to put their own stamp on it. And this guy sure had it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I had to show this.
Yes.
First of all, are those chrome ponies?
Yes, I think those are for the ponies. Yeah.
Those things always look good. I don't care what Fox body you have, but this little fastback, to see this car, the picture doesn't do it justice because I have an iPhone 4. You were saying.
Yes.
But the paint, if you recall the paint on this, it was like 45 feet deep. It was just. Yeah. And no offense to all you Fox owners, but Ford didn't paint them that well. When you guys restore your Fox bodies, you're doing a better job than we did. Because this one was wicked. I love the tailpipes through the rear valance. So the Fox guys had a field day there.
Yeah.
Of course, this guy was a Ford guy, a Ford employee as well. He had, I think he spent, Mike, was it 5 or 6 years doing that restoration? Anyway.
Yeah, that was a beautiful car.
So if you want to see some crazy looking Mustangs, and of course, you want to get somebody's attention, you put a sock motor next to you. Put it on an engine stand next to your Mustang. And then, so we're going to try to tell everybody that, if you heard from people that were at the Detroit Autorama this year that some Ford guy like John Clore was trying to roll an engine stand out with a sock motor on it out the back door, that's not true. I did not try to take that motor.
That car was very stunning, though.
Oh, just look at it. I mean, it's like the next Fast and Furious. It really was. And you can't help but love that stuff. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of color, Fast and Furious or Eleanor-style cars, there's just something about that raspberry metallic with a silver stripe, Mike.
Yeah, just absolutely gorgeous.
Man, and the way that the side pipes are and the way the tires are tucked underneath. Come on. Here's the problem, folks. Ask yourself, you go to a car show like this, you see this car, would you drive it, or would you just say, please stay away from my car? Would you take it?
No, I would drive it.
Take it to a Cars and Coffee or a car show? Oh, man.
I'd be driving that thing.
Mike, this car was literally perfect.
Yeah.
That was just, I would be so nervous to get one stone chip in it, but yeah,
I
you're
don't care. I'd be driving that. That's for sure.
absolutely stunning. Another one we had to love. Then, of course, you didn't have to have some $200,000 custom, but you just had to have some nice original car, some clean car, some car that was obviously well cared for. Vinyl tops and coupes are easy right now to get. You don't have to pay. It's the fastbacks and the rag tops that'll kill you on buying a first gen Mustang. And
Yeah.
but Mike, it's a good way to get into the hobby on a less expensive coupe, or like you say, maybe the best way is S95. But yeah, this car was just to see that paint. I mean, somebody really takes care of somebody. It's a well loved Mustang.
Yeah, and you can never go wrong with a first gen.
No, that's for sure. All right, then there was that big story, Mike, that came out at the Tremec booth.
Tremec booth, yep.
I know Ford Performance did a story on this, that one of the employees at Tremec said, hey, my dad's got a car. And they said, I guess he went through, it was a real tragic story of never being able to get her restored, didn't have the money, and couldn't do it. And he meant a lot to the company. So unbeknownst to him, I think they borrowed the car out of his garage. He didn't even know it. And they sent it to Tremec. Mike, I don't know how long they took to do this car. Or what.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I think there was a lot of helping hands in there.
Yeah, well, when
and really gave him a nice gift.
You look at this car, this absolutely stunning restoration. It wasn't just the car, Mike, or the suspension, or the paint, or the customization. It had a Godzilla in it.
Yeah.
I mean, what a crowd they get. I mean, you can see the people are taking photos. That's why this was just jam-packed full of people. And they unveiled it. He said that he thought they restored his car, and when he pulled the cover off, they did more than just repaint.
Yeah. A lot more, yeah.
What a story that was. Of course, we couldn't get out of there without Mike Ray going downstairs and looking at Speed Cult and the Detroit, all the metal stuff, Like
cool.
Like I've got a Detroit sign here back behind me. That's where I got it there. And Mike, they had every single brand covered with cutout steel or aluminum. These guys were selling. There was more steel going out of there than you'd find in a modern day Fiero.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they do great work, and like you said, they have everything there. Anything you want, they got it.
And that was just part of the fun, Mike. Going down there and checking out all the cool stuff. Of course, downstairs there were bands playing. There were pinup girls. There were artists down there showing off their art creations. There were tattoo people. There were. That was just the whole subculture, the Detroit Iron subculture down there. And one of the fun parts of the Autorama is when you're done upstairs seeing all the custom cars, and we'll go to you go to the food court, maybe you have a drink and meet a buddy. Mike, I want to thank you for, again, buying the 2 pretzels and 2 Cokes for $24. $24.
Good pretzels.
$24 for 2 pretzels and 2 Cokes. But if you're going to complain, don't go to the car show. And then, of course, we didn't take pictures of this, people, because we could do a whole show with a Toyorama. We spent way too much time there, Mike. What were you looking?
That was fun too.
What were you looking for?
Anything that catches my eye.
Oh my God!
Yes.
I mean,
which is a lot.
So the Autorama has changed. It isn't just custom cars and old hot rods with the old guys with the Winstons put in their sleeves and the white T-shirts. A lot of kids bringing their girlfriends, young people. We stopped in at the Washtenaw Community College auto class and talked to them. They had a couple of cars. They had a 27 Ford Model T truck.
Yeah.
And I think they won first place there. To see all the kids and bringing their girlfriends, the young kids and the parents bringing their little kids to check out. Maybe they spent time at Toyorama. But to see classic Detroit Iron, all these 50s and 60s cars, the 30s customs, the hot rods, and then the street machines, the muscle cars, right up to today's stuff. We highly recommend going to your local Autorama or come to Detroit, hang out with Mike and I at the Detroit Autorama.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Mikey, again, I got to thank you for buying that lunch. I tried to pay you back with some pizza, but by God, really cool stuff. I hope you guys, if you have a show you think we should look into, send it to us at clubhub@ford.com, and we'll drag Mike along. And I don't know even if we we got a lot of correspondence out there, Mike. They're telling us stuff about shows that we've been to. We like to stay up on top of it. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. So thanks, Mike, for your time tonight. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the Mustang Owners Podcast. Remember, you can check out what Ford Performance is doing. If you want to see more Autorama coverage, check out fordperformance.com/articles. We've got a bunch more photos for you there. And if you want to see what Mike's Club's doing, you go to moxon.com and check out what they're up to, because they're always doing Mustang stuff all over the place. Just remember to get onto either YouTube or Spotify and click on the subscription for Mustang Owners Podcast. We want you to subscribe so that you know the next time we upload a new episode. So until next time, we'll just have to catch you down the road.